Now I do want to go ahead and just preview the Wiggy Waggy at this time and why we say that it's potentially unspittable. Watch this. Okay, so here we have a regular circle hook. Here we have the Wiggy Waggy hook. Watch this. So why did we choose the circle hook for our ultimate dough bait hook? The reason we chose the circle hook is because statistically speaking, circle hooks have a greater hookup rate than any other hook. Now there's two real problems that people have when they're using circle hooks, and I want to cover those today to help you better understand how circle hooks work. One of the reasons that we chose the circle hook is it minimizes the possibility of gut hooking or deep hooking a fish. And the way that that works is that, and I'm going to see, hopefully you can see that I'm digging that into my hand pretty well, and it's not hooking. So imagine if this was the inside of a catfish, maybe in the stomach, they swallowed the whole hook, or maybe it's in their throat. Until the eye is able to rotate beyond the point of the hook, that hook isn't going to penetrate. So there you can see it's about to penetrate, and if I were to yank that pretty hard, it would obviously set in my hand, and that would be a bad thing. So when you put bait, or when bait is allowed to either, sometimes you put it down here, if you're using, say, cut bait, it may rotate around and block that gap. Or in the case of dough bait, a lot of guys, the only way to keep it on a hook that isn't a dough bait hook is you have to pretty much bury the whole hook. And with that whole hook being buried, you're never going to get the appropriate rotation that you need to set the hook. So that's not only a problem with dough bait, it's a problem with any bait. If bait is allowed to get between the point and the shank, that hook isn't going to hook up well, if at all. So the second problem that a lot of people have with circle hooks is they try to set the hook. So we like circle hooks because hooks where you have to set the hook, like a J hook, a treble hook, something like that, if you don't time it just right, you're going to pull the hook out of the fish's mouth, or you may not get a very good hookup because it didn't set in the mouth where you expected it to because you kind of yanked it, and maybe you got a real thin hookup and the fish is able to come off while you're fighting the fish onto the shore or into the boat. So with circle hooks, you don't set the hook, and I'm going to show you why. So again, let's imagine that this is the inside of the fish, and this is going to be the fish's mouth. Okay, so the fish comes up, takes your bait, and now the hook is inside the fish, and the fish is starting to swim away. So as that fish swims away, you'll notice that the hook rotates, catches the corner of the mouth, and now that hook is about to be set. If I go ahead and let that weight fall, there the hook is set. The problem with trying to set a circle hook is look at what happens when you try to set the circle hook. Okay, let's try it again. So what's happening is the hook isn't allowed to exit, especially look at this. Hopefully I can get this for you. You'll notice that as the hook begins to exit the mouth, what does the point do? Notice how it's rotating away rather than into the corner. Now if it's done slow enough, you'll get a hookup. But if you do it too quickly, it actually jumps out of the fish's mouth. So the two biggest problems that people have with circle hooks is one, fixed by the ultimate dough bait. When you apply the dough bait to our specially designed hook, it holds the bait not only very securely, but in the correct position. And secondly, as long as you don't try to set the hook, you're going to get a good hookup. Now I do want to go ahead and just preview the Wiggy Waggy at this time and why we say that it's potentially unspittable. Watch this. Okay, so here we have a regular circle hook. Here we have the Wiggy Waggy hook. Watch this. That's super cool.